All right. Is that working?
Yep, yep.
All right. We're good. Well, if you're not fired up when you get around Chip, you soon will be, right? As you can tell that already. And so to get this opportunity to come on board with Rebels Against Aging, which I've been a member of and followed for quite some time. I've followed Chip for a long time and just love his enthusiasm and his heart for people, right? And his heart for wellness. And so when I got the opportunity and the invite to come to his crew and share, I jumped at that opportunity. And I invited others, right? Because when we get the opportunity to talk about something that could be life-changing, the more people, the better. So I saw Charles. He's got his Ignite. Charles Coleman's ready to go. Got it shaken up. I already had mine, or I would already have mine here too. I think I'm addicted. Anybody had Ignite? Love to know how many people have tried this technology. Um, it's really something special. So just a little information about how I came across this. So I have been in this space, nutritional space, been in practice 28 years. And so I've seen a few nutritional supplements over these years, right? I've seen a few products that claim to do things that often did not, right? Anybody had that? They something that promised something that just never delivered. And so often, especially in the metabolic space, that's the case. Products that are supposed to help you get healthier and maybe lose some weight and improve metabolism. And I rarely have ever found anything that really made a dent in this area, especially. So this came across my path last December, actually. And a friend of mine said, try these drops, which is what we only product that they had at the time, right? And I was very skeptical. I know probably many of you on here were skeptical when you first heard about this. And so I hesitated at first because I didn't honestly didn't believe that there was a product out there that could do what this could do. So finally I said yes because it was a friend of mine that I trusted and she was having good success. And I said, well, give me the drops. So honestly, I tried the drops over the holidays. It's honestly not the best time to try a metabolism supplement, right? Over the holidays. So I did it over Christmas and New Year's, was not expecting anything. And I actually had lost a few pounds over the holidays, which I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This has never happened before, ever. And so I it got my attention to dive a little deeper, right? To see what was in these drops, what was in the science, what was this all about. And the more I dug in, the more excited I got. The more I utilized this product and started using it with family, with a handful of patients and close friends, seeing their response, I just kept getting more and more excited because it was making a real impact in a short amount of time with a wide variety of health conditions. And so many of you might have come on here thinking we're going to talk about a fat loss product, and indeed we like that part of it, right? But I'm going to share with you that it's so far beyond that that's maybe not even the most exciting part about this technology. The fat loss may not even be the most exciting part. And so I'm excited to share with you more about what this can do. So first off, we hear a lot about GLPs, right? Every other commercial here in the US is about a GLP-1. And we hear it so often that most people think a GLP-1 is one of these, right? Injected into your belly or one of these. That's what we think a GLP-1 is. It's not, right? Most people don't realize we already have that stuff in us, right? Our body already makes GLP-1. It's a normal hormone peptide pathway that's in our body that has a lot of important aspects to it. Now, GLP-1 agonist like Ozempic, for example, mimics the natural GLP-1 that our body creates, right? It mimics that and it does so quite aggressively. And as we hear, there are many probable or possible side effects with GLP-1 agonists. And we'll talk just briefly about that. We hear a lot about the digestive impacts, people having issues with, their digestion just completely shuts down, constipation, pancreatitis, gallbladder issues, muscle loss, bone loss, vision loss. The scary part is that people, this drug was designed for diabetes, first of all, was never designed as a weight loss drug, but right now it's the number one weight loss drug uh, in the world by far, more the biggest thing we've ever seen in the area of weight loss and a prescription drug. but has of the weight that's lost, up to 39 to 40% of that weight lost can be muscle. And that's staggering. So somebody can come onto a GLP-1 for weight loss and maybe drop 50 pounds, very effective at that, but up to 20 pounds of that could be lean muscle tissue. So if we drop 50 pounds, 20 pounds of that being lean muscle, are we metabolically healthier than when we started? Of course, the answer is no. We're not even close, right? We are worse off metabolically than we were 50 pounds ago when we still had 20 pounds of muscle. So the one thing that's scary that I see in my office is that people go on this, let's say they drop 50 pounds. Well, let's say they dropped 100 pounds, right? Potentially 40 pounds of lean muscle. So what happens when we shut down? Let's see, what happens when we mimic a hormone or we replace a hormone in the body? The body says, well, there's plenty of this around. I don't need to do that anymore, right? And so it stops doing it. If we replace testosterone in males, testosterone replacement therapy, what does the testicles do? They stop making testosterone, right? So if we replace a hormone, an important hormone like GLP-1, of course, the body says, I don't need to make this anymore. And now we come off of the shots. Guess what happens, right? The weight quickly comes back. GLP-1 is asleep at the wheel. That takes a while to recover from being replaced for months or maybe even a year or more. And not only that, but the appetite suppression, all the things that were once there are no longer there. Plus, how many pounds down are they of lean muscle tissue? Their main metabolic tissue is now gone, and that weight comes back. But did that 50 pounds bring back the 20 pounds of muscle? No, it didn't, right? So now we've gained that 50 pounds back, except no longer have that 20 pounds of muscle we once had. And oftentimes the thought process is, well, I need to get back on those shots. I've got to get this weight off, right? So we hop back on the shot. Maybe we drop another that same 50 pounds again, but guess what? We also probably dropped another 20 pounds of muscle. So we potentially are 40 pounds of muscle down, and now we are in critical conditions, right? And I see this over and over and over again. I have one poor patient that's lost so much muscle that now she's having heart problems. What's the heart? It's a muscle, right? And so again, I'm not against the shots. There are places for it, especially with diabetics. But my issue with it is as a first choice for fat loss, when we have so much better choices, and this is that better choice that people need to know about. So I'll get off that tangent there. Sorry about that. The GLP-1, of course, like I mentioned, is a natural pathway in our body. It regulates hunger in the brain, right? It helps control those cravings, those snack cravings that tell us that, 9 o'clock at night, we need to go get the chips out of the cupboard. It quiets those cravings. It reduces insulin sensitivity, or it improves insulin sensitivity in the body, improves blood sugar. It promotes sustainable weight loss. And again, a very important hormone in our body. And so when we hear the term triGLP, tri meaning three, and that's where it comes from, three pathways. So the primary, by far largest weight loss drug mimics one pathway. Our amazing technology supports three pathways. And I like that term support because we're not forcing anything, right? We're not replacing anything. We're supporting natural hormonal pathways, natural peptide pathways in our body. So GLP-2, the other GLP that's supported by our technology is the gut repair and absorption pathway. So it helps repair, strengthen that intestinal barrier. It repairs things like leaky gut. It enhances nutrient absorption in the gut, improving the vitamin and mineral uptake in our body. And I've seen this and been excited to see this on patients' lab works, improvements in nutrient levels, and they're not taking the nutrients, right? They're just absorbing them better, right? Promotes digestive wellness, supports a healthy immune system, reduces inflammation. All of these pathways reduce inflammation in the body, by the way. So that's pathway two. The third pathway is the GIP pathway, and it also overlaps somewhat in the area of improving insulin sensitivity in the body, improving blood glucose levels, lowering A1C, lowering fasting insulin, prevents those blood sugar crashes, right? It keeps more sustained, steady energy through the day, supports muscle preservation, especially during fat loss. and also helps the body to know, to shift out of storage mode and into using that incoming food for fuel instead of storage. And so these are the three GLP pathways that this supports. And this supports now, right? And so this is the only product on the market that supports three GLP pathways. Eli Lilly currently is spending hundreds of millions of dollars coming up with a three pathway injectable that's not due to come out till next year or maybe even later, called retatrutide. I don't know if anybody's heard of retatrutide. Three GLP pathways and an injectable that's not out yet. Hundreds of millions of dollars spent already in research, and they've already set aside $55 billion for manufacturing of this drug. This drug is set to come out again in a year or more at approximately $1,200 to $1,800 a month cost for this new wonder weight loss drug. Um, Again, we have a better option, folks, and a safer option, and at a fraction, right, of the cost of anything out there in the injectable world, and that's a big deal. So, as far as clinical results, we're seeing up to 7% BMI reduction in just 6 weeks, 10% body fat in that time with zero muscle loss, right? That's amazing. Not 10% muscle, not 20, certainly not 40%, zero muscle loss. Improved blood sugar, improved energy, improved inflammation, improved digestive wellness. And that's just a part of it. That's just talking about the metabolic support that this offers, but it goes so far beyond that. If you look at the research, and I love the website. If you've not seen it, make sure you get with the person that invited you and ask them for their website, because all of this research is on the website. All the clinical results, all of the studies. There's already published studies. There's more studies in the works currently. But these are some of the areas which I'll dive into a little bit more here in some additional slides. But inflammation and oxidative stress, right? That's what ages us. And then now they call it inflammaging, not inflammation, inflammaging. So this chronic inflammation, these chronic low levels of inflammation cause aging and speed up the aging process. And oxidative stress, well, that's what creates that's what damages the cells, right? That damages the DNA, that damages the mitochondria, and it's everything we're exposed to in this day and age in our very toxic world. All the way down to stress and lack of sleep, but toxins and pesticides and chemicals and hormones and plastics. And all those nasty candles that you pass in the store that smell good, but have hormone disrupting chemicals in there. All those things cause oxidative stress. And this is a powerful tool to combat both inflammation and oxidative stress. So they found that this technology actually upregulates 16 protective genes. It's like, whoa, what? Upregulates 16 protective genes in the area of oxidative stress, downregulates nine oxidative stress or harmful genes. So, guys, this is not just an antioxidant. This is actually shifting gene expression in the body to protect our cells, protect our body, slow down the aging process, right? So, can you tell now that this is not just a fat loss product? Now we are talking about a major anti-aging longevity powerhouse, is what we really have our hands on here. Showing reduced blood levels of inflammatory markers called C-reactive protein, interleukin 8, interleukin 5. And so this is huge, guys. And we're seeing this across the board. If you're not in the testimonial groups, make sure you get in there and check out testimonials, because people are seeing results that you just would not expect with their particular health condition, right? Not making health claims, but people are experiencing changes and shifts in their body able to repair and heal things that we would not have ever expected from a natural supplement like this. So we talk about absorption, right? And this is one of the other studies was on iron deficiency anemia. And the subjects that were iron deficient that took this technology had 140% increase in ferritin, which is the iron storage. 140%. And guys, there's no iron in here. Does that blow your mind? There's no iron in here. They had 140% increase in iron in their body. Why? Because they're absorbing their nutrition, right? They didn't give them iron. they started absorbing their nutrition, which led to major iron uptake in the body. Of course, iron is a major player in carrying oxygen throughout the body. It's a major player in energy, right? And this is one of the reasons people are noticing improved energy. One of those is because of improved nutrient absorption, including iron, right? Muscle preservation is probably one of my other favorite aspects of this technology. So when we talk about aging, we always talk about maintaining muscle is the key, right? To anti-aging is we have to keep our muscle as long as possible. And it's a struggle as we get older. One of the two of the proteins I should say that are involved in limiting muscle growth and promoting muscle breakdown are called myostatin and activin. This technology significantly suppresses these two proteins, significantly suppresses those. And so what people are not only getting healthier, they're dropping some fat and they're keeping their muscle, but not only that, they are building muscle. Also, not only does it suppress these proteins, but it causes rapid amino acid delivery throughout the body, and especially leucine, which is the key that tells the body, hey, we need to start making some new muscle. And so we have rapid amino acidemia. I like saying that because it makes me sound smart. But amino acid and emia is just in the blood. So major amino acidemia, major uptake of amino acids into the bloodstream and into the body, 15 minutes faster than whey protein, which is what most people are on, right? They're trying to build muscle with whey protein. Ours delivers faster and at higher levels in the bloodstream. And so this is the muscle preservation aspect of what we have our hands on. Hair, skin, and nails, of course, also anti-aging stuff, right? We all want to keep our hair and our skin and our nails. We always, we want to slow down that aging process. One of the other things that this has is type 1 and 3 collagen in this product. And so the studies that are out on this product are showing up to 34.5% improvement in hair, skin, and nails reported by females in this study. And it has a lot of, this talks about a lot of things we won't go into, but improving,
Wonder what that reminds them of.
oh, somebody's unmuted. Supporting fibroblast activity in the body. It promotes skin hydration and elasticity, strengthens hair follicles and supports growth cycles, all kinds of amazing things in the area of hair, skin, and nails. And the reason that I get excited about this is because we have real science here, guys. This is why this is different. We have over 10 years of studies on this technology, 50 million plus invested in research and still ongoing research, patented bioavailable technology that nobody else on earth has. I think we're up to 10 published studies now. We have 13 FDA claims, which is again unheard of in the nutritional industry. The FDA doesn't allow generally nutritional supplements to make health claims. And this company has 13 allowable FDA claims. Again, it's just mind blowing. And the reason that that's allowable is because of the science, right? There's so many companies out there that are making claims on their products. It does all these amazing things. And then you ask them, okay, well, where's the studies? Where's the research? Where's the proof? And most of the time you hear crickets, right? Because there's not any research. There's just claims and hype. Well, this is exactly the opposite of that. We have the science. We know this works. The jury's not out. The jury's already in. This product works and does what it says, and it delivers every time. Pharmaceutical grade manufacturing standards, very clean, no medical gatekeepers. We don't need a prescription, right? We can go and just order this ourselves. What's exciting about the different FDA structure and function claims is hardly any of these are related to metabolic health. Where they're about iron absorption and energy and skin health and brain and antioxidant benefits, anti-inflammatory benefits, red blood cell production, GI health. And all of these different medical claims. There's 4 Health Canada claims, which is kind of the FDA, the Canada's FDA. They allow 4 medical claims, again, unheard of in the nutritional supplement industry. My Canadian friends are blown away that we have 4 Health Canada claims. This is definitely beyond organic. When you look up the different certifications that we have, this isn't just clean, it's beyond organic. And that gets me excited, right? To be able to have a product that is not only works, but it's super healthy, super clean. We don't have to worry about any of the ingredients being harmful. There's nothing on the label we can't pronounce, right? We have the bioactive peptides, which is the star of the show. The triGLP has a little bit of organic lemon peel extract, a little bit of organic ginger root extract, and water. And that's all that's in here, guys. Super simple ingredients, super clean ingredients. And our IGNYT, our new powerhouse, our new metabolic booster that we're all excited about. Again, the same basic technology with the Norwegian salmon protein hydrosylate, which is the bioactive salmon peptides, right? We have beet powder for color. We have stevia. We have natural cranberry and apple flavor. That's all that's in the powder, right? Again, nothing you can't pronounce. There's no fillers in there. There's no toxicity in there. There's no heavy metals, the things we have to worry about. It's very clean. And this is the perfect time for a natural breakthrough. One of those reasons is, especially here in America, but it's worldwide, health crisis, right? Of epidemic proportions, obesity and blood sugar dysregulation. And so in America, 72% are either overweight or obese. 1 in 3 are pre-diabetic, 1 in 8 are diabetic, with over 70%, up to 88% reported to have some form of metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, things like this. We are in a health crisis and we need some help, right? We need some help. And this delivers in these areas, right? Real help in the area of obesity, real help in the area of insulin sensitivity in the body and reducing and repairing blood sugar mechanisms, because these things are what drive all our big killers, right? Obesity and blood sugar dysregulation drive heart disease, drive cancer, drive neurodegenerative diseases. Right now they're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Have you heard that? Because the brain becomes resistant to the insulin and it can't get fuel. It can't get glucose for fuel. So it causes cell death. Again, a big driver of that is insulin resistance. So this is right, it's the perfect time. We need it. But also the reason that many of us are excited to share that is because people are looking for it as well, right? People are looking at the GLP space because they see people losing weight and they're desperate for help. 10%, actually, I saw an article today that 1 in 8 are currently on a GLP drug. 1 in 8, 35%, I'd say more than that, are currently looking into the GLP space, but hesitant to pursue those options. There's over 5 million internet searches in the US alone every month on GLPs. So the world is they're looking for what we have, honestly. This is what they're really looking for. Nobody really wants to do a shot in their tummy every week, right? There's nobody that's just super excited and pumped about getting a drug that they have to inject in themselves every week. But they're desperate for help. They're desperate for weight loss. They're desperate for improved blood sugar. They're desperate for, the many areas that this can deliver in. They just need to know that it's out there. And I really feel that it's our job to share that this is out there. So if you just look at the global GLP drug market size last year was 130 to 140 billion with a B last year. Just to give you an idea of how huge that is, the next largest drug on the market is Lipitor, which is a cholesterol lowering drug, and that market size is 13 billion. What a comparison, right? 130 to 140 billion for the GLP market, expected to reach 240 to 260 billion by early 2030s. So the world is ready. I just turned into Elmer Fudd. The world is ready and waiting for a natural option, which is what we have. And I, not only do we have the ability to share this, but this company will actually pay people to share this technology, which is beyond our conversation tonight. But there is some opportunity there. Anybody that has that entrepreneurial mindset that would lock arms with us and help us spread this message that needs to go around the world. And so I think that's all I had. I wanted to share real quickly. This was a lab on a patient. I get excited about lab tests. I know you guys are probably bored to death about the lab work, but this is a patient of mine, a diabetic patient, 47-year-old male. And this was just got the results back earlier this month. I was able to share this at the launch event in LA. And you can see where the glucose started. And then after 6 months on, the only thing we changed was the drops. Of course, we didn't have the powder yet. The A1C, anything above a 6.5 is diabetic, right? They were 7, now down to 5.6, which is technically considered normal blood sugar. They're not even pre-diabetic anymore. Fasting insulin was elevated, of course, at a 22, very insulin resistant, which all diabetics are, down to 11. If you skip down to inflammation markers, high sensitivity C-reactive protein, anything above a 3 is high risk for cardiovascular disease and death because of cardiovascular disease. They were at a 4. They're down to a 1.7. Less than 1 is optimum, so we're not quite there, but certainly much better than a 4. The SED rate, another inflammatory marker in the blood, from a 19 down to a 10. So, um, real results, right? Real science, real results, with a powerful product that is simple to take, that's affordable, and that more people need to know about. So I'm going to stop my share here. I'm going to pass this back to Chip.
Wow. That's all I got to say.